Hello. Um, Today we are going to go over um, the tests on graphs. These are going to be easy. We're just going to walk through these together. It's not going to be a problem. First of all, let's look at the front of this one. It says the graph shows the number of fruit sold at Mr. Smith's store in one day. Study the graphs and then complete the questions. All right, well, let's take a look at the graph. It says that each dot represents 5 fruits. So we've got pears, apples, oranges, and lemons. If we wanted to know how many pears, we would have to count each dot by 5s. So let's do that real quick. If you want to write a 5 in, sorry, I've been writing upside down. So if you want to write a 5 in each in or next to each dot, you can do that. And then on your paper, if you want to write like the total, you can. Okay, so here, if you can see, I've written a 5. I don't know if you can see that in each box. Hold on, I'm going to do it darker so you can see it better. Alrighty. So, pears, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So he sold 30 pears. Okay, how many apples did he sell? Well, each dot, again, is 5. How many apples did he sell? 5, 10, 15. How many oranges did he sell? Again, each dot is 5, 5, 10, 15. And the same with the lemons. Each dot is 5. People liked lemons that day. How many lemons? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 40 lemons. All right, I am going to hold this up here. You're going to have to flip your page over, but I'm going to keep this up here like this while we answer the questions on the back. Number 1 says, there are blank types of fruits. Well, not in all. How many types or how many categories of fruit are there? There were pears, apples, oranges, and lemons. How many different types of fruit? How many different kinds of fruits is that? Number 2, blank pears were sold all together. How many pears did he sell? Remember to count by 5s. Number 3 says, the number of blank and blank sold is the same. What are the names of the 2 fruits that he sold the same number of? Okay. Number 4 says there were 10 more lemons sold than blank. Well, let's take a look here. Here are lemons. 10 of them would be 2 dots, 5, 10. So which other fruit sold just 2 less than this? So here's lemons. If we took 10 away, which fruit has that many with the 10 taken away, other than lemons? All right, number 5 says the number of oranges sold is blank fewer than the number of pears. Here's oranges. Here's pears. So in other words, they want to know how many more pears were sold than oranges. Well, how many oranges were sold? 5, 10, 15. If we take 5, 10, 15 pears away, how many more pears were sold? All right. Number 6 says the number of lemons sold is blank more than the number of apples sold. Well, here's the number of apples. If we take away that many lemons, how many more lemons were sold? Remember to count by fives. All right, number 7 says the total amount of fruit sold is blank. The total amount. So you're going to have to count by fives for every single one. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and you keep going. How many fruits in all were sold? All right, the last one says Mr. Smith collects 50 cents for every orange sold and 40 cents for every pear sold. How much does Mr. Smith collect for all the pears and oranges sold? So 40 cents for each orange. I'm sorry, 50 cents for each orange and 40 cents for each pear. So you're going to have to figure that out and then write the amount. Oh, by the way, that's a bonus question. So if you just can't figure out number 8, if you're just having a real hard time with number 8, don't worry about it. It's a bonus. Just do your best and try to figure it out. It's going to be tough because oranges, remember, there's not just 3. There's 5, 10, 15 oranges at 50 cents per orange. And then there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 pears at 40 cents for every pear. So that's a lot of adding, or if you can figure it out another way, that is a bonus question. So if you get it wrong, it's not going to count against you. Alrighty. Now let's look at the next bar graph. This one. All right, it says the bar graph shows the number of baseball cards that 4 children have. This is Jeremy. And if we go up, we see how many Jeremy got. It's between 6 and 8. What number comes between 6 and 8? That's how many he got. Here is Fiona. Fiona's line goes all the way up to here. So that's how many Fiona got. Yuki comes up to this line. That's how many Yuki got. And Morgan comes up to here. Follow that line over, and that's how many Morgan got. So A says blank has the most number of baseball cards. Who has the most baseball cards? Number B, or letter B, says Morgan has blank baseball cards. You find Morgan, go up to the top of his line, follow the line over to the number, and that's how many Morgan has. The C says Jeremy and Fiona have blank baseball cards together. So we need to find out how many Jeremy has. Remember, it goes between these two numbers. What number's between those two? And Fiona has this many baseball cards. So if you add Fiona's number with Jeremy's number, how many baseball cards do they have together? The next one says Yuki has blank more baseball cards than Jeremy. Here's Yuki. Yuki has this many. Here's Jeremy. Jeremy has this many between those two numbers. If you take Yuki's number and subtract Jeremy's number from hers, that will give you the answer for how many more Yuki has. So you take Yuki's number right here and subtract Jeremy's number, which would come between these two numbers, and that will give you the answer for how many more she has. All right, E says the 4 children have blank cards all together. So figure out how many Jeremy has. Take that number, write it over here. Figure out how many Fiona has. Take that number, write it under Jeremy's. Figure out how many Yuki has. Take that number, write it under Fiona's number. And how many Morgan has. Take that number and write it under Yuki's number. And then you add those 4 numbers together to get how many baseball cards they have all together. All right, let's look at the back of this page. If you need to pause the video to add those numbers up, write your answer in, you can. All right, on the back of this page, we've got another graph. Let's take a look at this. It shows Simon's test results. Here's what he made in science, math, English, and French. In science, his number comes between 80 and 100. What number comes right between 80 and 100? If we're counting by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. What number came between 80 and 100? 90. So in science, he made a 90. In math, oh look, he's good in math. He made 100. In English, It's between 40 and 60. What comes between 40 and 60? Well, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 50 comes between. And in French, he didn't do very good. French, come across here, what comes between 20 and 40? 10, 20, 30, 40. And you can write those little numbers down too. All right, so A says Simon scored 100 points in blank. What subject did he score 100 points in? B says he scored the lowest in what subject? Which one of these did he score the lowest in? C, he scored blank more points in science than in English. Well, we have to take his science score and subtract his English score from it. And that will give us the answer to C. You take the science score and subtract the English score from it. And that will give us the answer, to C. All right, D. He scored blank fewer points in French than in math. Here we have to subtract again. How many did he have in math? 100. How many did he have in French? 30. So you have to take his math score and subtract his French score from it to get the answer for D. All right, finally, he needs blank more points in French in order to pass. Well, first of all, for that, we have to know what is passing. Well, a passing score would be 60 or higher. A passing score, I'm not saying a good score, but just a passing score would be 60 or higher. So here's his French score. How many more points does he need to make a passing score, which would be 60? The way we figure out is we take the passing score, which is 60, and we subtract his French score, which is 30, from it. The passing score minus his score will let us know how many more points he needs to pass. Alrighty. In the next video, we will go over some of the geometry, and we'll look at that together. Alrighty. If you have any questions, let me know. Love you guys.